The cat actually beat me out here today. It evidently figured out I was coming out here and ran ahead of me. I don't know why. It wants to be involved. I had a couple of people ask, my opinion on this Ukrainian thing. And it's funny because I noticed when I was looking at the phone, I was cleaning off the old videos, and there was a video I did about it about a week ago that I never bothered to upload. Sometimes it just gets to be that way, but it was like a half-hour video, so because I could go on and on this, and I know it's not going to change anything. The likelihood is you aren't going to change anybody's opinion. Minds are made up on this. Facts don't matter. That's why, actually, it's funny, when they were having these discussions with, like, Putin and Lavrov, they just get disgusted, and they just decide, well, there is no point even trying to talk to these people. You're never going to make them see sense. When they lay down ground rules, saying we're not going to rule out Ukraine being in NATO. Though they had already done that. Years ago, they said they weren't going to do that. Now they went back on the deal. They're going to... And then the truth is, Ukraine really isn't going to get into NATO. There would be no point in it. And other countries that are in NATO really don't want that. It's just us in the UK who are really pushing for this. For our own particular reasons. I don't know where to go. There's so much here. And like I say, I know it isn't going to make any difference. It alarms me, like say, now they made a deal, a couple of deals there. We gave the Ukrainians now that THAAD missile system. Was the idea it's supposed to be put right on the Russian border. Well, they're going to take that out right away. They're going to have to. There's no way you could possibly... It would be like if your neighbor puts up surveillance cameras, but not on his property, overlooking your property. All around your house, you got cameras looking at you. That's kind of what we're doing. I don't need you on me, cat. But these are cameras with missiles. No, so that isn't going to fly. But we went ahead and did that. And then the UK, to show their solidarity with this, decided to give a missile system for the Ukrainian patrol boats. They got these old patrol boats, I don't remember, they got them from someplace or another. Probably one of our wheeling and dealing things, but they're older boats without missiles. Well, the UK decided they would upgrade them, put these missiles on them. Well, but part of the deal is then Ukraine has to agree to buy, like millions of dollars worth of weapons from the UK later on down the road, like within 10 years. I don't think Ukraine is going to be there in 10 years. But it's always, well, it's like even with this Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Oh, we're set against that. Oh, we can't have that. Well, Germany really wants it. Well, all of Europe needs it. And the Russians want to run that because the pipeline that they have currently that runs through Ukraine, which is a flaky place, which is why it doesn't really have a chance of getting into NATO. But, like I say, they agreed that they wouldn't do that, but now they're trying to renege on that obligation. Well, by the Russians running that pipeline through there, then they end up paying billions of dollars to Ukraine just for transit fees. Well, Ukraine doesn't want to lose them, the transit fees. But if you've got a country that's that unstable, you don't want to be running your whole operation through that country, so they went around it. Now the big battle is, oh, they can't open that up. Though that's why Germany really doesn't want to get involved in this. You know, Ukraine is demanding weapons from Germany, and Germany said, well, we'll give you helmets. Oh, you insult us. Well, we'll give you a field hospital. Oh, you insult us again. You know, they want weapons. They want as many weapons as they can get. It's really a stupid situation. You know, even in these little breakaway provinces, they made an agreement on this. What was it? Minsk II, it was called. To stabilize that. But Ukraine doesn't want to live up to that. It was done years ago. And we're pushing Ukraine not to live up to that. You know, because part of the idea was then you had to get all the foreign troops out of there. That this was a domestic situation that could be settled diplomatically. They were supposed to allow them a certain amount of autonomy, but they won't do it. Ukraine said, oh, no way. Though they agreed to it at one time, but that was before we did a regime change there. You know, because the other ones, they got along fine with Russia. But we had to get them out of there and get in this comedian. You know, it's funny, like when we complain about our president, what does he get, like a 40% approval rating? That's what they say. I don't believe that for a minute. Though you hear from people who are just diehard, oh boy, you know, he can do no wrong. But at the same time, I heard that Zelensky now has like a 23% approval rating. Well, that's a pretty weak horse to be backing. But he only stays in power because he keeps shutting down all of the TV stations. Anything that is opposed to him, they just shut it down. Any politician that opposes him, well, throw him in jail. You know, that's how you do it. That's how you stay in power with a 23% rating. They just shut down another TV station again today. I think that's 4 of them now. You know, it's a hell of a mess. Now, just the other day, I noticed, you know, we're trying to de-escalate, or we keep talking de-escalate, but we will not live up to them agreements that we made before. We keep on demanding this and demanding that, and all the Russians are asking is to live up to the agreements we already made, but we refuse to do that. And then they said, oh, we don't want it to go nuclear. But at the same time, I noticed just the other day, I'm in North Dakota, and up in Minot is where we have our B-52s, the Strato Fortress. You know, they're like 50s technology, but they've been updated. But we got a fleet of them up there. Well, the other day, and they are nuclear capable, they flew them over to England. Now, I know they went to England, but from there, I don't know for a fact where they went. You know, they hushed their stuff up. But I can suspect they're probably in Germany by now, or maybe even Poland. But they're, you know, heavy bombers. That's a real de-escalation. And I think yesterday now, you know, the Russians are running drills, and in the Pacific, off their Kuril Islands, which is right off Russia, in their territorial waters, they're running drills. And here they pick up a sub that didn't belong there. Well, of course, it was one of ours laying in the lee of a little island. And they got a hold of him, and they told him, you know, you can't be here. You're in our territorial waters. You know, they ordered them to surface. Well, they didn't. They didn't answer. They wouldn't reply. They tore ass out of there. And then when the Russians confronted our State Department, oh no, that wasn't us. It was us. Of course, it was us. There again, you know, just lurking. But the Russians would have had every right to just blow that thing out of the water, and I think if they keep pulling crap like that, that's going to happen yet. You know, and Biden is real nervous about this kind of thing, which is why he keeps pulling our troops out. You know, he sent them in there, showed them Ukrainians how to run this new equipment, then got them the hell out, because it would be so easy to trigger something big there. You know, and he wants Americans out of there, because if anybody gets hurt, though there are Americans in there regardless, I mean, they say they pulled them all out, but there is a bunch in there. There's when this started, these breakaway provinces, it drew in, well, they have militias. You know, there's the province that broke away, they have their own military, but there's a ceasefire with the Ukrainian military. But there are militias that the ceasefire doesn't hold with, which are composed of the real radicals, the real nationalist Ukrainians that are basically your neo-Nazis. And they pulled in from all over the world. Every neo-Nazi who could get a plane ticket, they flew in. So that's what these breakaway provinces are dealing with now. Though, like they said, most of these people who weren't residents were supposed to be out of there. It wasn't supposed to be this fighting going on, but it's going on. And these people in these provinces are Russian citizens. They're Russian speakers. They have joint nationality. I mean, they've got Russian passports. They don't want to be part of the new Ukraine. It's going to get ugly. You know, and constantly with our harping on it is only making it worse. Everybody is trying to cool this down, except us in the UK and the Ukrainians. Well, even the Ukrainians are saying, God damn, cool it down, you know, because they know only bad can come from this. But we have this theory, you know, that if we can get rid of them, you know, keep them Russians out of there, then we can start selling gas, you know, natural gas, to supply Europe, that they don't need to get it from Russia. We'll supply it. Well, it's twice the price, which is going to cause a real problem. Well, Biden said, well, you just tax the people more for it. They'll pay for it. Or freeze to death. Well, of course, they're going to be up in arms, you know, because like right now, Germany's pretty cool about this whole thing. There are other countries that are really rattled. But the one thing Germany needs is that gas. They need that. They depend on it. Most of European countries do. The idea of depending on us to supply them with gas, they ain't going for that. Not on Biden's word that we're going to do that. No. That ain't going to happen. Well, and at the same time, when they do that, when the gas that we were sending, I mean, we did send some ships over with gas, but that was stuff that was destined for China, so we reneged on that deal and instead sent it to Europe to show them, oh, see, we have gas, we can do this, though we really can't, or we're going to freeze to death here, you know. We really don't have the gas to spare, and at the same time, you know, like this is really going to hurt Russia. You know, that's the theory. This is really going to hurt Russia. Well, Russia's already got a gas line going to China. They're building another one going to China. They're pretty good buddies with China now because we forced them into this situation. You know. So, yeah, it'll play out, but there ain't a damn thing I can do about it. But it's funny, you know, the thought of, you know, Blinken went over to deal with Lavrov. Now, that is so lopsided. Lavrov is old school diplomat. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what has to be done. And you send that stupid ass Blinken over there. Well, worse now, they decided, whoop, they'll turn this over. Harris can handle this situation. So she was going over to Europe now on another vacation. I thought it was funny when they had Macron from France went over and had a little chat with Putin. Putin referred to it later as, 5 hours of torture with a Frenchman. There was nothing going to be accomplished. France really has no dog in this fight except that they need gas too. But it was funny because they had to sit at a table many feet apart. Only because the Frenchman decided he didn't want to take a COVID test before this meeting because then the Russians would have his DNA. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Is he worried about the Russians cloning an army of Frenchmen? I don't know what the hell the idea was, what he was so spooked about. But he ain't the brightest bulb around either. But it's funny watching this unfold, but we are bound and determined to get this going, though we want to stay back. But like I say, we're worried that it could get out of hand, which it could very easily. And they keep saying, "Oh man, they're swarming on the border. It's like they're lined up along a fence, and they're hundreds of miles from the border, doing the drills that were scheduled long ago." The same with this stuff out in the Pacific. I mean, that was all scheduled long ago. They do this all the time. This is nothing new. But we decided this time we should get shook about this. Really, the big problem is, a lot of this, there's a lot of stuff going on, like the Canadian thing, and that's really spreading here. It's in Australia now. I mean, there's a lot of people who are just fed up with this nonsense. Now, they try to keep this stuff off the news as much as they can, but if you really look, you can figure out what's going on. Because this is going to come here, and we're going to react, we're going to overreact. But people are simply fed up with this, and they're using this whole pandemic thing as an excuse to just clamp down on people. And people are pushing back. They should have pushed back a year ago. But they're finally starting to push back. So, we'll see. But this Ukrainian thing, I don't know. I don't think Putin has any desire to invade. There's nothing to gain there. The only thing, he has a certain obligation to defend those people in those provinces. So there's a chance there, that, like I say, he's obligated, and he fulfills his obligations. He isn't afraid to, like we tend to, let him. But it all started because we had to overthrow the democratically elected government in Ukraine. We had a meddle there. That's how this whole thing, them losing Crimea and all this, it all happened because of that. And we just keep building on that. But it distracts people from the problems here, I guess. I guess what's part of their thinking. But there's no good outcome on this. I mean, all they have to do is honor the agreements that we made previously. Keep our troops out of there, keep NATO back, because that was the promise. NATO wouldn't expand any further eastward. But no, promises mean nothing to us. Because now when they have these negotiations, of course, they say, oh, that's off the table. Nope, you can't. Well, there's nothing left to negotiate. Well, you leave it like that. It was funny, the one day it was on Tucker Carlson, I saw they had that Tulsi Gabbard on. It's hard to believe that she's a liberal. She has way too much common sense to be in with that bunch. But she understands exactly what's going on there and why. And when you think back that, they had a chance, the Democrats could have elected her. But no, they got that piece of crap instead. But I guess if you're in the army industry, it's good times for you. They were saying, oh man, the stocks are climbing in the arms. But all we have to do is live up to our agreements and quit meddling in European politics. We have no business being there. These countries, and I don't know what in the world the UK is doing in there. Well, I guess they got enough problems at home that they decide, well, we can get involved in this too. But the countries that are really pushing this are failing countries. They keep talking, oh, they're going to put sanctions on Russia. And like Russia says, hey, go ahead. We need them a lot more than they need us. It's just foolishness all the way around, though. But I can see the frustration with Putin and Lavrov when they try to talk to these people. Well, and like, I think it was either Lavrov or Putin said, it's like trying to talk to somebody who's deaf and dumb. You can't get anything accomplished. They're just so close-minded on this. There's no reasoning with them anymore. And they were even talking, oh, we'll put sanctions on them before something happens. Well, yeah, nothing like a little pre-crime. There's if you're going to get the punishment before the crime, you might as well do the crime. Take the whole damn Ukraine. But remember when I said, 23% approval rating. That does not bode well for Zelensky. And it isn't just him. He's being played by the real radicals in their military, and they have a lot of real radicals in their military. Again, the neo-Nazis. It's so funny. I mean, we even like they refer to these truckers. Oh, Nazis! Everybody's Nazis, and then we're supporting the people who are really the neo-Nazis. Who, if you were to call them neo-Nazis, would be just tickled. They'd be delighted. It's their whole goal. But we support that. It's just foolishness. That's why I really wasn't. I kind of leave this stuff alone because, like I say, you aren't going to gain anything. They're going to do what they're going to do. It alarms me that they sent them bombers over there. That was not necessary. But they can take them down. I mean, the Vietnamese took a hell of a lot of them down. The technology has improved greatly. But it's funny to watch, that Biden is just pushing us and pushing us. Everybody in our State Department, everybody a lot of people in Congress. There's a few of them that got some sense, but there's a lot of them, they're just pushing for this. But they've been lobbied by Ukraine heavily for a long time. There's probably been a lot of money changing hands. Well, the big guy got his 10%. He's probably looking for more. But there are people who are pushing for this, and just so few voices against it. But I do feel sorry for the Russians having to deal with those idiots. I mean, it was funny that the other day I saw they appointed somebody to our Atomic Energy Commission. This is another great Biden appointment. And if you want to see a damn freak show, this guy is something else. Well, you can't say he's an it, kind of. I don't know what the hell he's supposed to be. But just a freak of nature, man. And now this guy is going to go over to countries like Iran and inspect their nuclear facilities. When this freak show comes walking in, they are going to say, the hell with the nukes, let us deal with this demon. It's insane to put somebody like that on a public stage like that. You know, he is a freak show. Well, we got that other admiral in a dress. Man, it just, every time you think, how much worse could it get? It can get worse. They can drop it down another notch. And they're doing it here. So, when you think, you used to think that, oh no, we'll never, nuclear war, oh no, nobody would be that foolish. We have the fools in power now that this could happen. It's that bad. But, like I say, it can always get worse. With these people, it can always get worse. There is no limit to their foolishness. So, it wouldn't surprise me. But, I really do feel sorry for other countries trying to deal with our insanities. We should just get the hell home, stay out of their business. We're not doing anybody any good there. This could only go bad. There's no good that's going to come out of this. All we have to do is live up to our previous agreements. Everything would be hunky-dory. But they won't do that. This is a whole new ball game. She's a rigged game. Well, that's long enough. Damn near a half hour.